Hello, everyone. Welcome to the old MCU crew. It's Monday. It's almost the end of August. We're hanging out. Jesse's dancing. Wow, you guys
It
both.
is almost the end of August. What the fuck?
Yeah. Well, Bronze, me and Jesse have a thing to tell you about time. If you
No, no,
weren't,
I'm not sure if you're aware.
if you're not
I don't know if
aware,
you're.
absolutely.
So, when you get
break
older,
it down, Jesse. Break it down.
I already did. That's how fast it was.
Oh,
That moved so fast, you missed it.
yeah, it's true.
Damn. I'm so sorry.
Too old. Too old.
Yeah, you're just getting too old.
Yeah.
Minutes are turning into seconds.
Yeah, that happens as you get older.
Yeah, everyone else seems like the Flash, but no, you just.
No.
And-
No. That's wrong, Jesse. No
Wait,
one
is
is
it
like
reverse?
the Flash. No, you don't want to be like the Flash anymore. He's not. He's Ezra's.
Oh,
It's not great.
you're
What
Not
if
great.
instead? Whoa! What if
Not
instead
great.
of saying you don't want to be like the Flash, you don't want to be like some other character he does? You know what I mean?
Okay,
We can
Might be
save
fair.
the Flash.
you got to classify it. You got to these days.
I'm
Some
not good at classifying
superheroes,
things.
they're not who they used to
It's
be.
not a thing I'm good at.
Yeah, you are.
No, I was in science. I didn't. I sucked at classifications.
Oh,
Species, genus, genus, meanus. I don't know what the hell they are.
sure.
So
Also, wouldn't it be
Oh, well.
Quicksilver if we're on brand?
no,
No. Okay.
no,
Not. We'll throw that out.
no.
The
I'm
window.
not gonna be like Namor's way cooler than Aquaman. It's just not gonna. It's never gonna happen.
Really?
Never gonna
You're
happen.
Team Aquaman?
I
100%.
think Namor is
What?
cooler.
Yeah, Namor's
I
totally
love
cooler.
Namor, but I will never say he's more iconic than
Well, that's what I
Aquaman.
mean. That's what
Yeah.
I mean. I think just like Flash. Sorry, Quicksilver. Flash is more iconic.
Yeah, Flash is way more iconic.
I would
So,
say you're
like,
correct.
no.
Yeah.
Like every little kid knows what the Flash is, and
Yeah.
like
Just because
yeah.
DC can't manage any of their properties in a good way, except for the animation, which they do very good at.
True.
But just because they can't, everything else, I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. Imagine if DC was good. Imagine that world.
Which is wild because
Whew.
the comics are so good. The
Yeah.
Right.
comics are so good. Like for people that are like, oh, if I wanted to read Aquaman, the DC Rebirth run of Aquaman, chef's kiss.
Hey, here's
So
a
good.
here's a random for you, Bronze. Have you read the new Batman run by Gary Whitta?
Mm-hmm.
Is it good?
I like it.
Okay.
I like a lot. The thing with Batman is the only thing I dislike about Batman is there's so many
Yeah.
Batman comics.
Sure.
There's so many. There's like Batman Fortress, Batman Detective Comic, Batman. And then there's Batman Dark Knight, Batman.
There's a lot of Batmans. Turns
There's
out.
a lot of Batman.
You
And what I hate about Marvel is these motherfuckers have done the same thing to the X-Men. It'll be like
Yeah.
X-Men Blue, X-Men White, X Generation, X-Men Extinction, X-Men. And I'm like, y'all, there used to be like 3 teams, I feel like, in a rotation at any given time, You maybe had X-Force, and then you maybe had the X-Men, and then maybe like a Wolverine solo. Now there's like 30. I
Yeah.
don't like it. I'm not gonna lie. I don't read all of it. I'm like, I refuse.
impossible
I'm not
to.
engaging in
Yeah.
this bullshit.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
makes it hard to
Too
follow.
much.
It's I don't know. It feels like oversaturation, but the comic book industry has more problems than that. So,
Sure.
Yes,
they
it
got other
does.
stuff to work on.
That's a very long conversation about distribution, how impossible it is for comic book retailers to actually survive.
Yeah.
There's a whole conversation to be had there that truly makes me worry about whether or not we're gonna have comic books in the future.
We'll have them. They'll just be all digital.
Maybe if that, because I can't believe Comixology was purchased by Amazon. That to me, I was like, this doesn't bode well.
Yeah.
Like, this is the biggest sort of virtual retailer of comics, and I could go on a 10-minute rant about how Amazon purchasing Comixology was the worst thing to happen to Comixology because that app fucking sucks now. It's freaking horrible.
Does DC
It's like
have an online comic thing?
they used to. They used to have, I think it was DC Universe. It had all their shows on it, all their comic books, everything. Now the shows are on HBO Max, but
Right.
while it was all under the same umbrella, oh gosh, did I disconnect?
No.
No, we can see you looking as great as
Okay.
usual.
Okay, I'm back. For a second, you guys froze for me.
Oh. Yeah, you never
When
dropped.
it was all under the same umbrella, I actually think this HBO Max stuff might still be up there. You got a shit ton of comics and all the shows for actually it was one of the best deals I had seen because they bundle the comic books into the shows. And I subscribed to it for 6 months and covered it on my comic book talk show, Bagged and Boarded, and went over, like, exactly what you get for it, and it was one of the best deals in comic books because they give you essentially access to a huge amount of their library for, like, a pretty small, fee,
Right.
monthly fee.
Yeah. I think Marvel Unlimited is also the same. Like, that's really good value, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I have Marvel Unlimited, and that's what I use. It's it's all right. I'm glad at least they're updating back catalogs. For a while, you would type in what you were looking for, and it was like, "Sorry, you have to buy the physical copy." And I'm like, "What the hell's the point?"
Yes, yes,
know,
and the
why
Yeah.
am
physical
I buying this
copies
then?
of Marvel Comics come with this little tearaway code, and when you scan that, you get the digital one for free.
That's too
But,
much
like,
work for a
even
comic. Like, I'll do that
Yeah,
for a
it's too
movie,
much.
but for a comic,
Yeah.
nah. Like, give me a fucking QR thing to take a photo of and my phone to magically
Yeah.
make it work. I'm not typing a code in. That's too much work.
And the cool thing about DC Universe too is right now, if you're, like, watching Sandman and you love it, God bless these people, they put the Sandman run on
On sale.
their app for free.
Ooh, for free.
You can just read it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
Free's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
You know what? Speaking of Sandman,
Uh-huh.
so I watched
Good
I
fucking
watched
show,
the
isn't
show.
it?
Absolutely loved it. Watched the show, had a great time with it. But I ended so I got to this point, no spoilers, but I got to this point where it's like a almost post-credit scene where it's like, boy, I'm Satan and I'm certainly
Yeah.
mad and I can't
Yeah,
wait to get. And I was like, okay, cool. What a great series. Stop. Left. I am on Reddit or maybe it was TikTok or Twitter. It doesn't matter. Someone posted a clip of like a scene. I was like, I've never was that in the show I watched?
2
And
secret
I realized
episodes,
that there's just a
Jesse.
new episode, and I was
Yeah.
like,
I haven't
wait,
watched those
what?
yet. I haven't checked them out.
Yeah.
Isn't one of them animated? Because he's a cat or something like that?
I have no clue. I was like, wait, they just added another one? Okay.
Mhm.
Fine.
I have to watch the secret episodes too. I've heard they're amazing.
Yeah, I've heard they're very good. I haven't watched them yet. Bronze, well, go ahead, Jesse.
No, I love the series. I find it very interesting. I've talked with 2 people, and the first person I talked to said, and I quote, "The first 6 episodes are amazing. After that, it's kind of shit." And then the next person I talked to said, "I heard the beginning sucks, but the ending's amazing." And I'm like, interesting.
There's a really
which is like
weird
a very
take.
yeah, it's
I
2
think the middle's
incredibly
the
different
best
takes.
part, for sure. It goes
I
like
mean,
that,
episodes
I
5 and
think.
6 back to back are like, if you
Yes.
watch those in one sitting,
They're
that's
incredible.
a roller coaster.
Yeah.
That was so good.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
The first 30 minutes should just be required viewing. I
Is that the
feel
cafe
for life.
episode?
Episode 6 is the death episode.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
The first 30
the
minutes,
sound of her wings.
just the death portion should be required
Yeah,
viewing for anyone.
Totally agree. I think that bit and
It's such like an eloquent way to discuss something terrifying for so many people.
absolutely. But I think what's fascinating is if you combine that moment with the moments from the previous episode, it is like, I don't even know, like a dichotomy of humanity or something. It's like
True.
crazy to watch.
Yeah, you're right.
I was so impressed that they were like, yeah, we're gonna get super dark. What I thought was interesting is they took something that wasn't necessarily a dark topic and they talked about love and humanity and want and need, and then made it super dark.
Yeah.
And then they took another topic, death, which can be very dark, and made it like
light.
Such a loving, like happy. It was very interesting. I love this. So shout out to like good actual storytelling in my comic book stuff.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
Bron, did you watch Game of Thrones last night?
No.
Okay. I think I'm the only one that has. Yeah. Are you, is this consequence of time? Is this I'm burned so bad episode season 8?
Somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
Somewhere in the middle. Like, I really like the books.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed with the Hedge Knight and the stories of Aegon Targaryen and this like weird Hedge Knight. And I read those graphic novels and those books. So I was like super all in on Game of Thrones. And then I started watching the show. And some of the decisions they made, I was just like, I understand that you're trying to save money and time, but some of these decisions are just crazy. And I don't really get like why
you're
you
talking
would
like
do that.
early in the show.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the stuff they did with Dorne is where
yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm out.
They
This
kinda
was like
write
my
Dorne off.
favorite
They
region.
wrote Dorne out of that show.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm out. Like, this was my whole favorite thing, and y'all kind of fucked it.
Look,
So
they
I
butchered my boy,
wasn't there.
Stannis.
Yeah, I wasn't
They
there
butchered
for
my
all
boy!
the stuff that happens later that people were so disappointed with because I had tapped out so early.
Gotcha.
Would still float in and out and watch certain episodes because that's the bright side of reading the books is you can kind of do that.
You pop in and know what's going on, sure.
Yeah. So I would like pop in and look at stuff, but even the newest season, I'm one of those people that was like, this is not very good.
Yeah.
Well, the final season wasn't good as just TV.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with the game. It was just bad TV.
Yeah. Had
Yes.
issues.
So I was like, oh, this is not great. This is really boring. So like on one hand, I feel like they finally have freedom to really write because
Sure.
House of Dragons is like it's a prequel, right? Because it's going over Targaryen shit.
Yep.
On the other hand, it just also feels like a cash grab to me. So if people say it's great, I'll go watch it, but I never
really
want to
good.
watch something and dislike it, you know?
Sure.
'Cause I'm not a hater.
Yeah. I thought it was very good. I'm super into it. Jesse, there's basically just a bunch of dragoons walking around.
Like
just
the
a
biggest
ton of
problem I
dragoons.
have isn't the show or game. Like I've read all the books. I'm excited for George R. R. Martin to finally show me literally anything for the next book. I will read it. I don't even give a shit. Even though I've waited too long, I'll still read it. But like, I'll be real. The Targaryens are the least interesting group in the entire show to me. I could care or book series, whatever.
Yeah.
Like even Daenerys in the books, I'm like, I just don't care.
I thought they were pretty boring
Meanwhile,
in the main show, but this one, like, I'm interested. I think they're great. I love.
I'm sure they'll do some interesting things with it, but like, it'll be a while before I'm like, all right, I'm ready to watch this. I'll wait for a few episodes to be out, and I'll like try to steamroll them. But man, they brutalized my boy.
Stannis
I was a big Stannis stan.
Stannis
Stannis in the books is so cool, and they turned Stannis into a punk ass bitch, and it made me so mad, so mad.
No, he is.
Gotcha. Okay, so 2 scorned fans. Well, 1 scorned fan and 1 book reader. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought it was great.
I'll probably read it. I'll probably watch it at some point.
It was funny. Without giving away plot points, some like pretty dark, vile shit happens. And I made a comment like, man, that's so fucked up that like that would happen and that character would do that, blah, blah, blah. And Aaron goes, well, that's what happened back then. And I kind of slowly turned my head and was like, you know, this is not real, right? Like this didn't happen.
Well, that's what happened back then.
She goes, shut up. It's real. It's real. It's in my head. It's real. So,
when we flew on dragons.
Yeah, when we just took rides, saw dragons. Yeah, it's great.
Oh my god,
it's great. But Jesse, there is some straight up like dragoon armor in the first episode. It's fantastic looking.
Yo, I'm hyped. I mean, like I'll give it a watch, but I'm gonna wait for like a couple weeks, get some sort of consensus on what the vibe is. Because again, I'm the time I have. I got other things I have to watch, or my part of my existence requires that I watch them. So
yeah.
You know, I'm like, all right, well, we'll see if I want to invest myself, because I think like Bronze, if I'm gonna go in, I'm going in. So all right, let's see what happens.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
makes sense. There's still a lot of stuff I haven't watched. Anyways, there's no news this week. MCU world is coasting on that She-Hulk hype right now, or lack of there, depending on who you're talking to. So we could just jump into She-Hulk discussion. I'm pretty nervous. I don't know where you guys are gonna fall. I really liked it, and I don't know where you. Every Monday, I'm like, well, it's time to find out if it's gonna be an awkward cast for me or if if I'm among friends.
I'm willing
this
to
week.
bet $5 Jesse loved it.
Loved it. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely loved it.
Great. All right. Bronze,
Yeah.
your quick take?
Yeah, no, it was good. Okay.
Okay. Oh, sigh of relief. Everyone, we're all okay. People liked it.
They did
Glad.
the thing that I liked about this, it was constantly on the border of me thinking, oh man, I may not like this. But the thing they did that I enjoyed is they didn't take the time to like, it reminded me of watching X-Men, where they didn't take the time to over-explain shit. They just like did it
Yeah.
and continued on.
Right.
It was like, we're not going to explain the whole like, oh well, the blood is tainted. Like, no, we're moving on, and we're gonna training montage and cousin talk, and we're gonna have some goofs.
It was fast.
And
yeah.
lawyer show, and that the thing that you all were worried about on the internet about Titania looking weird doesn't matter because that shit's like moving on. And I was like, I love this.
It was very fast. I was super entertained the entire time. I thought,
absolutely.
I mean, Tatiana Maslany, fucking just absolutely love her as an actress. I think she could do anything. And I'd be like, yeah, this is great. She's a fantastic actress. And I think her and Mark Ruffalo have incredible on-screen chemistry. And it was also just nice to see Mark Ruffalo again and the Hulk again and like have decent writing. Like, we actually got explanations to shit that were like, oh, okay, I guess, sure, that makes a little bit of sense. Oh, okay, yeah, I guess that's why. Oh, that's where, okay, that's, like, they took some time to actually put some, I don't want to say effort, but put some thought into, like, where and what the Hulk has been up to. And I enjoyed that.
It fills in some blanks about the fact that it seems like everything in the Marvel universe is once the movie ends and the credits roll, by the time the next thing comes out, everyone kind of forgets what had happened before. And which, by the way, would be an amazing like reveal. Like Kang is making you all forget. That'd be insane. But anyway, like they all seem to forget stuff. And so it's nice to see that the Hulk has a little home that he hangs out in.
Yeah.
And the reasoning for it isn't because he's trying to hide away. It's because like, also has like good vibes with like, this is where Tony and I were at, and we wrote our name in the wood, and we were like
the
best
Tony
buds.
Stuff fucked with me, man. Yeah,
I love that. I love the fact that there's a character who's like, I still remember this, and it isn't Peter Parker. You know what I mean? He's the only one who ever seemed to give a damn about any other characters. It's nice to have a person be like, yeah, this is where we built this, and this is where we tested stuff, and this is how I learned to like become both of them, and I'm gonna explain some things from Endgame. And I was like, oh, you know what? All right, I'll take it. And it was nice. It was very nice.
Yeah, I thought so as well. Where are we at on the world of CG? How we feel? Does it look fine? Were you okay?
To me, it doesn't. There's something. I'm not a professional, but there's something about it where there's definitely parts where I was like, I wish this had just been animated or something.
Yeah.
Because for me, it pulls me out of the experience.
It's remarkable, and it's obviously because like Hulk has been around for so long, so they've got the CG down and like blah 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 blah. And She-Hulk's CG is new, etc., new character. But it's remarkable how much better Hulk looks than She-Hulk.
That's exactly what. There's a scene where it's like a side profile of him, and he's kind of like this on the corner of the screen.
Yeah,
and dude has stubble. And he looks like he has imperfections in his face.
Yeah.
It was so good looking. And then the camera turns and it's her. And it just looks like a green person that has the actress's face kind of like superimposed a little bit on it.
Yeah.
And it's you're right. It's very obvious that they've had years and years and years to perfect Hulk. And this is a new character. And they're like, we tried. And it's fine. It's good. But every scene they're in together, she seems a little bit more I don't know, like a little more uncanny valley. I don't know what it
It's
is. There's something
too.
about her that's a little off.
I was thinking about it just now as you guys were talking. It's too pristine. Like there's no. It doesn't look like the body's been lived in. If that, I mean, I guess
Mhm.
technically it hasn't because it just happened in the show canonically. But yeah, it's too clean. Like it needs some. The She-Hulk in the
Yeah,
comics has like a longer face, and I think the nose is like a little bit. I don't know. It's too clean for me, I think is how I would
yeah,
say.
for me, it's also the hair.
Yeah, it's how it's just kind of poofy and kind of too
It's
good.
very it's almost like plastic.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't like, the hair kept throwing me off. It's, like, a little too shiny, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I don't know, like I said, I can't put words to it, but, like and I understand the hair is an homage to the comic, and I love comic books, but sometimes you change things because just because it looks good in the comic doesn't mean it's gonna look good on screen,
Right.
and then it feels like that for the hair where it I don't know, there's, like, this yeah, I don't know, there's an uncanny thing to the hair where I'm like, "This doesn't look normal." Like, why
It
does turning
reminds
into a
me.
Hulk give you this very shiny wig?
It reminds me of when you see people who there's like the photo someone took of them and the photo they post online. And the photo
Sure.
someone took of them is like the normal photo, and the online photo they've added 80 filters and they don't look real anymore. And I'm obsessed with that. And it feels like that's the same way, where it's like this is a character that is filtered in some weird way that when standing next to the Hulk looks a little off.
Mm.
But I will say, when by herself, fine. It's very strange to me. I don't know if they're using the old rigs and models of the Hulk that they've had for years and years and years, and they're just like, well, we have them from the movies, and we have that movie budget money that was spent on them, so let's just use those here. Or if it's, I don't know what it is, but like the two of them together, it is so awkward. But when they're separate, totally fine.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. But with that said, didn't matter to me at the end of the day. I'll be honest.
Once it was
I
in
enjoyed the hell out of
motion,
this.
yeah. Once
Yeah.
it was in motion, I was like, oh, okay, great. That's She-Hulk.
I will say,
The stills
the
look
scene
worse
where
than
they were
the
throwing,
motion.
like the scene where they were throwing rocks, I thought that was very fun. It looked pretty natural to me. So yeah, it's weird. There's like moments where it looks weird, and there's moments where it's totally fine. And I guess that's just the CG we're working with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Bless the visual effects people who are probably underpaid and overworked out the ass.
Well, I mean, they definitely are. They
Yeah.
100% are. We
Yeah.
know that. But I mean, I have to say, as someone who grew up in the the early 90s as like a teen, I went and saw Mortal Kombat, so I know the difference. I've seen bad CG. I've seen Reptile. I know what that guy looks like.
Do you
So we've come
remember?
a long way. We've come a long way.
You just
So I can't really complain.
You've
Yeah.
activated a memory. I remember when is it Kentaru, the horseman in Mortal Kombat Annihilation walked on screen? Man, my like 14-year-old brain was like, that's dumb as fuck.
Well, I mean,
So bad.
same thing with me and watching in the Mummy 2
Sure.
when Rock shows up and he's
Yes.
the Scorpion King. That's terrible. That's terrible CG. It's
Motaro,
brilliant. You can
that's
go
what it
back
was.
and like there is a video that exists on YouTube now where it's the people who made it talking about it, and they're like, look, there's a reason why wider shots and all this other thing looks good, because we couldn't get the Rock into the studio, so we had to model a face rather than mocap him.
Yeah.
So like they had to make it up, and I guess when you have to do that stuff, it doesn't look right. And lessons learned, I guess. But
Yeah.
it's there's a lot of classic bad CG, and it's
I forgot about The
fantastic to
Rock.
see that like we can sit here and nitpick, but at the end of the day, we did watch 90% of a show that was two CG characters
Mhm.
goofing around, which was pretty impressive.
Yeah,
That's pretty interesting.
that's very true. That's very true. Fourth wall breaking stuff. I'm a big fan. I didn't think I was going to be. I actually loved the little fourth wall moments that we got. And I don't know why I was expecting them to come across like cringy or cheesy or anything like that. But for me, it was like, cool. That's the character. That's what we're in. I wonder if they keep that in like the crossover stuff, like in a movie, if she's going to ever break a fourth wall, or if she would just be her own character and that's it. And it's going to be only a TV show thing. Not sure what they plan to do with that, but I thought the
Mm.
actual in-show fourth wall stuff was great.
I think the reason I love the fourth wall breaking stuff is it explains the pacing of the show because the show does move very quickly.
Mm,
And at times it feels like it's moving for convenience, right? Like everything conveniently happens the way it needs to propel the story forward. But that's almost more, there's like, how do I describe it? It's more forgivable when you realize this is sort of Jen Walters' like, retelling of it. So she's
Mhm.
probably skipping past stuff,
sure.
right? Like, yeah, because there is definitely some stuff where I was like, they're very clearly trying to, like, rush this along because they keep doing that thing that they also did in Miss Marvel, where it's like, this character is immediately gonna know how to fight and immediately gonna know how to do everything, and I'm like,
Sure.
it's always so uninteresting for me. Because, like I said, the cool thing about She-Hulk is She-Hulk was trained by oh
Captain.
gosh, why can't I think of her name now?
Oh,
Captain America and, Thanos' daughter,
Gamora.
Gamora, yeah. So, like, the and maybe that would happen in this show, who knows? But, like, the weird thing about the shows thus far is a lot of them don't really have that training phase where they're, like, trying to figure it out, and I feel like that's such a cool time
It
to
is,
watch a
yeah.
superhero. You know, that's what I love about even, like, Tom Holland's, like, Spider-Man is, like, seeing the growth and seeing them figure things out, and then that's what I loved about that movie, the 3 Spider-Men talking to each other about things they've learned, tricks they've got, because, like, that's such an endearing part of the superhero story. But other than Moon Knight, which had a very amazing writing trick, right? Which is that one personality doesn't know how to fight at all, and the other personality is very good at fighting. We haven't seen that again. Like they get the suit and they're immediately perfect and they're immediately great at everything. So I did like that about Kate Bishop. I liked seeing the growth there because it feels earned, right? So like the one thing that kind of allows me to forgive some of that with this show is the idea that, well, it's her retelling of it. So there's probably a little bit of flourish and it's probably a little bit rushed and it's probably a little bit like, yeah, and then I went to the island and then I came back and then I did da 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 da, da, you know? 'Cause
Yeah.
she's trying to get through this as fast as she can so she can get to her court case. So that allowed it the horrible pacing of Marvel shows because they are horrible. They like are
They're all over the
always
place,
they
yeah.
always I feel like they're rushing towards something
The episode
consistently.
is usually fine self-contained, but the series is not, right? Like that's how I feel
N
about the
no.
pacing.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, no, but, like, knowing that she's narrating it, seems more like, "Oh, yeah, she would be rushing past the stuff she doesn't find as interesting."
Right. Yeah.
I'm very curious if they are going to just leave it and not concern themselves with it, which is fine, or if they're going to take the time to try and explain who she's talking to, you know what I mean? Like, it's very clear she's talking to us because she's like, this is the show you're watching, right?
Yeah,
So it is
lawyer show.
incredibly fourth wall breaking. It isn't like, it's like even more so than Mr. Robot kind of vibes, where it's like, you see, it isn't like, oh, you're watching a show. You are watching a show. This is a show that you are watching. Hi. And so I'm curious if they're going to attempt to be like, well, Bruce did say there'd be like another person inside you, like that kind of thing. Or if they're just going to be like, F it.
Oh,
This is what it is. And we're not going to explain it and we don't need to. And honestly, they don't. But I'm very curious if they're going to try. You know what I mean? Because sometimes everyone feels like they have to. And I'm like, you don't have to do anything.
yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
see.
I think it'd be awesome if I don't know where it would make sense and if it would ever occur, but if like Deadpool and her were in a scene together and they both broke the fourth wall and then looked at each other in breaking the fourth wall, it was like, wait,
I would.
you can do this
Can
too,
you,
or is that type of deal? That'd be sick.
Can you imagine, like, if she turns one way and talks, and then he turns another way and talks, and they both look at each other, and then they, like, look around the corner to figure out who they're each talking to? That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
That'd be such a fun scene.
Yeah.
Like, who are you talking to? And she's like, well, who are you talking to? That'd be very good.
Yeah. I don't know where that would exist, but I guess in whatever the next Deadpool thing is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna explain it because I just think it's an homage. Like,
Just to the
this
comic book.
character is yeah, like, her cover for Sensational She-Hulk is literally her holding up an X-Men comic saying, "Alright, let's try this again. This time, if you don't buy this book, I'm gonna come to your house and burn your X-Men." That's the
That's the
cover.
speech bubble.
Yes, and that's the cover, is her saying, "Buy my fucking comic or I'm gonna go to your house and burn your other comic." So, like,
Sick.
and that's, like, how they kick off Sensational She-Hulk. So, like, and then even in Sewell's run, she does a lot of, like she, like, will literally walk between the frames and stuff like that, like, where it's like she's aware she's in a comic. So I feel like that's just an homage to being like, "Oh, this was a big part of her writing."
Mm.
So, like, it's a fun nod to that because the show does have a lot of nods to, like, even I would say, like, Dan Slott's run. I haven't read all of the She-Hulk stuff, but, like, it has, like, some cute nods to, like to that. Her design too, because a lot of complaints are like, "Oh, she's not big enough." But the thing is depending on the iteration, she is sometimes just a big green woman.
I mean,
Big,
let's
big
also
enough
talk
in
about the
terms of
fact that
muscles. Is that what people are saying?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I was reading some stuff on Twitter that people were like, "Oh, it's kind of like old." Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, rip up all your X-Men. I thought it was Burn, but yeah, rip up all your X-Men. Um, so yeah, it's weird because like there were some people saying that this her design was the result of misogyny, old school misogyny, and that should have been rectified because there are female bodybuilders who are bigger than her and da 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 da.
Man.
And I was like, I don't know. I think they're literally just paying they're just trying to reflect what she was like in the old comics, which was, as you can see from that picture, kinda just a big green woman.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Like,
she's toned here, but like, I never
yeah, but
looked at
she's
her.
not like whoosh,
I
you
never looked at her
know?
character as like some fucking buffed out of their mind person. It was just like a She-Hulk.
There are iterations where she is, but I've
Really?
never liked those. Yeah,
I don't
there
know if
are
I've ever seen them.
versions.
Let's see if I can find some.
Yeah, writers have done versions of the yoked She-Hulk, and I'm gonna keep it a buck, I've never liked it. I've never liked that transformation. I've always been
Oh,
like,
weird.
that's yeah, I've always thought it was gross. That's just me. I'm not saying buff women are gross, but I just never liked it for her. Um,
It, man, I've never seen this. I didn't even know this character was ever portrayed in this way.
it's
What,
been a few
we're about to
different
see
times that they've
buff ass
made her, like,
She-Hulk.
Hulk out. Yes, they
Yo,
yeah, that
whoa.
yeah, I've never
yeah,
seen that
multiple
before.
times she's been, like, that big. Um, in a few different iterations, her transformation makes her, like, actually Hulk out,
Yeah.
but I've never liked it.
Yeah, I like the other thing, the other way better, because I look at her as also a little bit more agile, and the show even kind of represented that when she was doing the like balance movements in the
Mhm.
training arc. I don't know if she could pull that off, if she looked like that and she was super agile in the show the way they presented it. I don't know. It'd be cool if she could somehow
Yeah.
control the like muscle growth, though, like the control the level of hulkening. That makes sense.
The
I don't
level of
like the word
Hulkening.
hulkening, but yeah.
Hulkening, though,
I
yeah,
mean,
you don't like it.
ultimately, it's personal preference. Some people like the super stacked Jen Walters.
Yeah,
I don't. I don't
yeah, I
know
don't think I do
why.
either. Yeah,
I don't. Um, but yeah, I think like I think a lot of the stuff is like there's nods to it, but my favorite stuff about this episode was the Hulk stuff, but that's because
yes,
I'm a Hulk fan.
yeah. So that's actually a big question of like, obviously, there's what, 7 more or eight more episodes, 7 more episodes of this. Is it going to be as good as that first episode without Mark Ruffalo to bounce off of?
Well,
Right? Like,
I
that's the question that I think going into episode 2 is like, do these comedic bits carry over to the rest of the show? Because the chemistry they had on screen together, I think, was it carried the show.
Sure.
Just like I think Mark also being in that show as well. But that being said, she also carried Orphan Black by being 12 other characters and literally acted through entire scenes with just herself. So maybe she is just like charismatic enough to be on screen by herself and carry the show by herself. So we'll have to see. I think they were saying the next episode, is it who plays Abomination? Is it Tim Roth? Is that his name? Yeah. They're saying Tim Roth is going to be a little bit more like jokey this time around instead of like super doom and gloomy. So I'm curious to see how that plays in the second episode that is coming out this week.
I'm curious. So we 100% know that episode 3, because I believe episode 3 you said was the People versus Emil Blonsky.
Yes.
Which I believe.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah. But episode 2, I guess, is going to be the setup for the show. Like, I don't know.
Episode 2 is probably
4
her being introduced to the department and like getting a gig as like their lawyer. And then I think they probably introduce Abomination at the end of that. And then the third episode is the actual court case.
So it looks like,
I think.
It looks like, so the episodes that we have, so the first one was Whose Show Is This?
Mm-hmm.
Which was interesting. And then episode 2 is called The Retreat, which I would have assumed that was
but that's
what took
not
place.
what episode 1 was actually called on Disney Plus, though.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Are they mislabeled? Or not?
Yeah, it's called A Normal Amount of Rage.
Oh, that's right. Episode 1.
Interesting.
So they're out of order.
Yeah.
Wonder
Yeah,
what
they're not in
episode 2's
order.
called. At least for that list. Because I remember that too, Jesse. I remember reading that list, and I don't think it's in...
A Normal Amount of Rage they have is episode 9 here.
So that was also another
No,
thing?
that's what episode 1 was labeled.
There was actually a story
Yeah.
that came out, I think today or maybe yesterday over the weekend, that this episode was actually later in the show, and they decided to put it earlier in the show so that we had backstory. So they kind of moved some episodes around.
Interesting.
Yeah. Is episode 2 up though? On like Disney Plus in terms of a name, or do we not know the name of it?
I don't know.
Let's see. What is episode 2 of She-Hulk titled?
I don't see a title.
It does
yet.
not say. We usually get a preview for it on Monday. I wonder if they move those to Tuesdays since the show is also a day later. It said she wasn't going to get her powers until the last episode. Oh, weird. Episode 2 will be roughly 28 minutes long. Yeah, so maybe the next episode then, if we don't know the order, maybe it is the full Abomination trial. Is her like meeting the group and then saying, "Here's your first client, Abomination," and then
Yeah.
That
Well,
is pretty fast,
assuming that these titles are correct and just in the wrong order, then you can assume based on all this that we're going to get up like this. The flow of the story is going to be her practicing law, her taking on cases, even if they're cases she doesn't want. Ending up with like wacky stuff like Frog Dude, and then it looks like there's a lot of episodes about like she's now when she becomes She-Hulk, she's super hot and people are like trying to bang She-Hulk.
Yeah.
And her dealing with the fallout of being like a celebrity.
That might
pretty
be
much.
next episode too.
Yeah, and I think based on the way they set this up in the first episode, I have to believe that by the time we get to episode 10 or whatever, there's going to be some sort of Marvel fight. Episode 9, some sort of Marvel fight. You know what I mean?
There
You
always
can't
has
keep
to be,
saying
yeah.
you're a superhero now, and for her to just not be a superhero ever.
Who would she
they're
fight though?
100%
Because
gonna be
like what's her name walked through the wall and then just got clocked and that was it. Right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People are all freaked out. They're like, "Oh man, that's the character. What the character was on screen 2 seconds."
She's in the show a lot more. For sure.
Sure. But like
Yeah.
that scene that we've all seen a million times, and everyone's like, "Man, that wig work, I don't know," or whatever. But she's like, "That's my own hair. Doesn't matter," because that scene was 0.2 seconds long,
Yeah.
and that nothing we've seen like we've seen 90% of the trailer we've already seen.
True. Yeah. Apart from like the
So-
Daredevil stuff and all that.
Yeah, I mean, there's clearly some moments that are further on, but like most of the stuff was in the trailer already.
Is she's in LA, right? That's where her law firm is. Did we figure
She
that?
said I need to get back to LA. Yeah.
Okay. How the fuck does Daredevil end up in LA? Does she like go to New York
Great
or
question.
something? Or I wonder.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I bet she goes to New York
Yeah.
because it seems to be following the slot run, which is like basically, yeah, it's a pretty. Let me like try to recall. So it's a comic in which she's like a big party girl, and she can't stand being the human version of herself because when she's in the She-Hulk version, people want to sleep with her and she's popular and she's like going on these crazy benders. And Captain America basically like pulls her aside and he's like, "You're really taking advantage of the Avengers mansion. Like you're taking advantage of the staff, you're taking advantage of the resources here, like this isn't fair to Jarvis, who's like their butler, who's like a person." He's like, it's you have like different people over every night. It's like a security concern because we don't even know if these are Hydra people. And she's like joking about it. Like, "Oh yeah, he's an underwear model, but sure, he's Hydra, Steve. And they basically are like, "Yeah, you need to leave. Like you can't live here anymore." And she's like she's like, "Oh my God, what?" And she's going to court as She-Hulk, driving around as She-Hulk, like, she hates being the human version of herself because the human version of herself doesn't get that fame and respect and adoration. And then she's, like, fighting a court case, and it gets thrown out on a mistrial, and the dude there is like, "Hey, I want you to come work for me." And it's, like, one of the most respected firms in the city. And he's like, "But I don't want this fucking mess. I want Jen Walters because Jen Walters is a great attorney, but
Yeah.
not this." And so she like humanifies and is immediately crazy fucking drunk, which is why I was like, "Oh, they even made reference to that in this show." Because they've never talked about how much Hulk can drink. And really, like I said, a lot of that is like referential to the comic books where they literally go out of their way to be like, "Oh, she metabolizes alcohol so fast, she can drink crap tons of it and not really get drunk." So then like she turns into a human, immediately gets drunk, goes over to the first day at the firm, goes upstairs, and fucking Doctor Strange is up there doing like consulting with one of the attorneys.
Huh.
There's aliens and all this stuff. And she's like, "This is supposed to be one of the most respected law firms in New York. What the fuck is all this?" And he's like, "Well, these people need lawyers too. And that's why I hired you. Like, this is what I want you to do."
Got it.
And she's kind of resistant to it, but goes along with it just because she gets fired from her old law firm from breaking the photocopier by photocopying her ass.
Great. Put that in the show. That's a good bit.
I do definitely think that probably makes sense story wise when if all this stuff is New York based and she's in LA currently, her being like her hulking out and getting fired for hulking out like could make sense. You know what I mean?
Did Miss Marvel take place in the New York area? Where did that take place?
Yeah, New Jersey.
Yeah, New Jersey.
So that would make sense because isn't it the group that was like trying to catch Miss Marvel or whatever? That's who she works for as a lawyer. Like they're the same group, right? Or is that wrong? Don't they introduce themselves as the same thing?
I don't think so.
Okay, maybe that was just me making. Yeah, I thought it was like them working for the Department of Damage Control or whatever, or her working for the Department of Damage Control. But chat's saying I'm wrong, so I think I just made that mental connection as
I don't think so.
whatever reason. So, what if she goes to New York and like Hogarth is there? Like that's the from Daredevil. If they get Trinity to show up, that's the agency that is working with all the superheroes because she would have at least like in character or in canon, she would exist. So that'd be kind of cool. I just don't know where they're gonna go with like who's the introduction to whatever this law firm is, whatever this group is that like starts up defending or going to court for superheroes. I'm not really sure. I guess we'll see. I mean, they're gonna have to get to that pretty quick, right? Like if that's the basis for the show. So, what else? Anything else from the episode? I guess we can. I mean, the post-credit scene, potentially the best part of the episode, was really fun. I was super into that. It was really weird to see a headline that says Kevin Feige determined when Captain America lost his virginity this morning. Like apparently he was the one that decided whatever occurred. But that was just a strange thing as a headline to read. But I like the post. Apparently every episode's going to have like a little post-credit moment. So
great.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah. I'm into it. Bronze.
Here's my question. Who was it? Who was it though, dog?
Who was who?
Just a random girl from the 40s.
Was it though?
That's what I mean. He was on a lot of USO. Was this?
That's what I'm saying.
This
did he have a port in every town? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Are you trying to say where's Captain America's kid?
Port?
No, I mean a port in every town. Question: was it one of the dancers?
Oh my God.
Was it one of the dancers that was with him?
What if it was Natalie
Was it a random
Dormer?
stranger?
Natalie Dormer was in that film.
Was it Bucky? Just have to ask.
Could have been Bucky.
Was
you
it
never
Bucky?
know. You never know. I don't think they're ever going to say.
Chad thinks it's Natalie Dormer. No. She came on to him, and then Peggy caught that shit, and he was like, "No, dog, I like Peggy."
Well, this was definitely pre-Peggy, right?
Yeah, I saw that movie. Come on now.
Yeah.
She was like, "I'm gonna get me some of that Cap ass," and he was like, "Well, maybe." And then Peggy shows up, and he's like, "Damn, never mind." That's the woman for me.
I remember that exact scene where Captain America
happened just like that.
Yeah. No, I remember it.
He said, "Big, get away from me."
Yeah.
It's all about Peggy Carter.
Yeah. Dog's going crazy.
He agrees with me.
Yeah, Ollie says, "Yeah, Jesse,
right.
you're right. You're right, Jesse.
You're totally right, bro."
Yeah.
I know. I'm aware.
Yeah. He likes to bark at random shit. I don't know what he's going. Ollie's crazy dog. Bronze, you're going to talk about the post-credit scene, I think?
No, I was saying the most important part of that Captain America scene to me is what preceded it, which Vicken from my chat aptly pointed out, is I finally got representation on screen of being someone who eats hot Cheetos with chopsticks.
I thought that was like a hipster trendy thing. I thought that was like a huge thing.
No, it's a gamer thing.
Is it?
It's like if you're playing on mouse and keyboard.
You're totally right.
Yeah, it's a gamer thing. Like if you're playing on mouse and keyboard and you touch those Cheetos with your fingers, your mouse is fucked. It's never going to look like that again.
Yeah. Here's the thing though, if you use any food like that, your mouse is kind of fucked. It just shows up.
Yeah,
you just got a trail of Cheeto dust this time.
Well, no, because if you have the chopsticks in the bag.
Right. I'm saying you got to do that with all the food.
Yeah, basically. And then when you go to touch your keyboard and mouse, it's still pristine.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that forever, and I do it on stream sometimes, and people are always like, "Why would you do that?" And I'm like, "I want to see what your keyboard and mouse look like."
Well, now you know what they're going to say, Bronze, right?
I copied She-Hulk.
That's what they're going to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
God, you're too Marvel, Bronze. You just love Marvel so much. You copied the She-Hulk.
Everyone knows I'm the biggest Marvel fangirl.
Yeah, you're just huge.
That's what I hear about you.
Huge secret fangirl.
What a sellout you are.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my God. I do feel like literally parts of this episode were made specifically for me, though. The reason I say that is because I've said since the beginning that my favorite thing that they've done in the MCU is showing Tony Stark and Bruce Banner's friendship. Like that was always something that, whether it was like Avengers, the first Avengers movie, like I loved how they were like, "Oh my God, I'm such a big fan of your work. Oh my God, I'm such a big fan of your work." Like that first scene when they meet each other, I'm like, "Oh my God, two nerds geeking out. God bless." And then like seeing that Tony like built this island compound for him and they built a bar together, and Bruce getting kind of emotional and being like, "Yeah, Tony mostly drank and I did most of the building." I was like, this is the cutest fucking shit ever. Like They tried to do that in Hawkeye and it didn't land. When they tried to do the whole, like, "I still miss Natasha," I was like, "Ugh, whatever." But this one, it landed where I was like, "This poor boy, like, he kinda lost his best friend." And,
It's sad for sure.
yeah, he's alone now. Um, and I like that they even acknowledged that when she, like when She-Hulk says that to him, like, "Yeah, because 'cause you're all alone and this, that, and the other," and he's like, "That's mean." I like that his response to that is like, "You're mean," you
Yeah, like
know?
Hulk's got feelings.
Um, yeah, yeah, and, like, this she just had this entire I guess I do wanna comment on that because they did do something that I usually hate in shows, and I'm gonna try to forgive it for this one, which is where they have to talk up, like, a female character by putting down a male character.
Hmm.
So, I was definitely in the camp of, like, that little rant she went on, even though it was valid, I was completely on board until the end where she's like, "I control my rage infinitely more than you do." I was like, "Girl, this man was, running a free clinic for Indian children in a developed nation and was dragged out of his home and put on a fucking jet to be thrown like a nuke at a problem with the contingency and plan to kill him if he failed."
Right.
There's a lot of people that you could say, haven't been emotionally through a lot, but I don't think Bruce Banner is one of those people. And I actually had that issue, I think I said with, like, Shuri too, where I was like, Shuri can just be a genius, but Shuri doesn't have to be like that's where people get upset and they start calling him Mary Sue's, right? Because it's like, it is a little bit of a, "Oh, this character you like, this new character knows more about Vision than the people that made Vision," you know? And it's one of those things where if you only do it for female characters, which is what Marvel does, it ends up coming off as like this very heavy-handed, like, "Oh, we don't actually care about representation. We don't actually care about diversity. We're just doing it for brownie points. So we're going to be very like, bleh about
Yeah.
it, you know?"
Sure.
Like, they don't need to outwardly I think, like, some of the stuff, some of the women's issues they talked about were definitely poignant, like her coming outside of the bar and immediately being harassed by 3 men that won't leave her alone, like, that is something that happens. But then I feel like Marvel always goes overboard where they're like, "We have to explain everything to you," you know? So the rant for me, like, didn't land because I was like, of all the people to have this rant at, I don't think Bruce is is the is the recipient, if that makes sense, for me at least, where it's like, I
Sure.
have to control my rage every day as a woman, and what would you know about that? I was like, if you were saying this to Tony Stark or someone else, I would agree with you 100%, but you're saying this to Bruce of all people. And one of my favorite I pulled up the frame here, but one of my favorite quotes from a comic is she's talking about Bruce and she says, "When he hulked out, he became a giant deformed monster who couldn't even wear normal clothes. While there I was, looking like a bodybuilder who'd just been spray painted green. I could wear suits, walk down the street without people running and screaming. Teenage boys hung posters of me on their walls. Must be nice," Bruce said, "to be that kind of Hulk." So I think like that's the story they were going for is like, oh, they're two very different Hulks. But like to me, that's a story of pain, right? Like because it's like, oh wow, that's something Bruce will never have. He is always going to have to struggle with this other identity. He's always going to have to like fight for control of his own body and at points be taken hostage in his own body.
Mm.
And to have that reduced to, "Oh, well, I'm just better than at this than you are." I was like, "Well, that just kind of seems cocky and shitty."
Yeah, it was
Like
very cocky.
you're his cousin. Wouldn't you feel bad? Wouldn't there be any part of you that feels bad for him? So, like, that dynamic at points didn't land for me because at points it seems like they're very close, and other points she's like, "Well, yeah, of course your life is shit, but I'm just better, bro." And it's like, "But he's your cousin." Like
Yeah.
like, some part of you would at least feel empathy, right? That, "Oh, wow, I don't have to share. He has to share." Like, that kinda sucks, you know?
Yeah. I
My
think there
my
is also
assumption
family banter that exists and that like they were egging each other on. But I 100% agree
Mhm.
with you on the other stuff.
my assumption for all of that, and the reason why it didn't because you're definitely right that having that conversation with maybe like the asshole lawyer or like her boss or like some any other character besides Bruce, it would have been more impactful.
Yes,
However,
that's exactly my point. Yeah.
Yeah.
but I feel like we'll find out very quickly. But my thought process while watching it was, oh, this is the setup for at some point Bruce to show back up and be like, it's hard, I told you. You know what I mean? So she comes off as like, they push the fact that she's being like kind of a dick to him because later he comes in and has a moment where he has to save her, and then the two of them have like a heart to heart about what being a superhero is again. And then she takes on that mantle of like, all right, I know what I like, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think is what I assume will happen. But if it doesn't, it does change the way that this scene plays a little bit. Because if Bruce never shows up again, that's like, it's like a weird, all right, bye, cuz. Thanks for teaching me the ropes, but like, you suck. I'm gonna go be a lawyer.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It is interesting,
right? Because that's a Marvel MO of like, let's get people to watch the show by having a super large character from the past 20 films be in the first episode, right? Like that's a marketing thing.
Marvel isn't, and also Marvel doesn't do subtlety, right? Like Marvel is like, we're gonna show female empowerment. Put every woman we've ever had in one scene together, running with Infinity Gauntlet.
It's so fucked up that moment is
have them like turn
seared into my brain. Because I remember for whatever reason watching Evangeline Lilly go like this and like do a weird like step up walk during.
Yeah, no, they all have to have like something. She's like, yeah, don't worry, we're with you.
Yeah,
and then like a bunch of like, for some reason they all left the fighting and were like, don't worry, girl power. And they all was like, wait a minute, there's like 1,000 dudes, and you all would like, don't worry, we're all here together. It's they don't do subtlety very well.
Yeah,
it didn't land for me. Like that type of stuff where I'm like, yes. In fact, I love when The Boys makes fun of it when they're like, girls get it done, and that's like their whole marketing is like, girls, they're getting it done, you know. And I'm like, oh my god, they're literally dragging Marvel because you people eat this shit up, you know. But like, I think like it was, I definitely agree, Jesse. I hope that's the direction they're taking it. I feel like they might, because like, even in the scene after that, she keeps saying like, I'm so calm, I'm so collected. And then like, she basically runs Bruce over with the Jeep and he's like, fucking dick move. And it's so clear in that scene that he's pulling his punches and she's not.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Like it's they did a good job of making that apparent, that he's like being very like kind of treating her like a kid. Like, I don't want to hurt you, knock this shit off. And she's not really doing the same thing.
Yeah, she's still kind of learning how to do all that. I loved that it was like a 1 second thing, but I loved when Hulk took that rock and just chunked it into fucking space. Just like, I was like, oh shit, like that's real Hulk power. Like that's,
he had to remind you that he's that bitch.
Yeah.
You know?
But I like the way they played that scene, because and even though it was again all CG, the way that they showed it off was like Hulk picks up a rock and he just like a little toss to be like, all right, you can throw. And then she picks up a rock and she throws it further and it's like, yeah, gotcha. And he it's very like family rivalry kind of. He's like, fine. He takes a rock and throws it to space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she kind of like poo-poos it, is like, whatever. And I love that scene. I think that's a great combination of what these two characters are and how they can play well with each other. Obviously, that's not the show,
right?
But I feel like there has to be a moment. There has to be a moment later where Hulk is like, "Hey, I know you're down. I know shit's rough for you, but like that's the deal. That's what this is." And he's like, "I tried to tell you. I tried to teach you. I told you it takes 10, 15 years." Like, I think that would be like a good moment for her as a character, but. You know, we don't really get a lot of good moments in the MCU sometimes. They're like, we have got an epic space battle to tell. Like, they introduced a Sakaran thing at the beginning. So there's like a whole...
Which I think was a big deal. I think that's going to come back up. I think he's got that might be his son. Like, he might have had a son. That might be Scar. It could be the start of like Planet Hulk. I don't know. I think that's going to come back at some point.
What is the main story where he goes ape shit? is on Sakaar and he gets married,
Yes.
and then does his wife die with the kid, or does he have the kid already? It doesn't matter. Either needs to say, whatever the case may be, if they go that route and we get like pissed off, I'm gonna kill everyone, Hulk.
Yeah.
That'd be wild, dude.
I mean,
That'd be
imagine him at full strength,
crazy.
not pulling punches, throwing rocks into space, and they disintegrate, fighting other people. That'd be sick.
I would love to. I know it would ruin kind of the vibe they're going for with this character, but I would kind of love to see just like the Hulk from Avengers. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Where he's tearing up a ship and no one can control him. That'd be crazy.
And I would love for Mark Ruffalo to get like finally a standalone film and the Hulk to actually get a good writing, like for more than 5 minutes. I would love that.
He deserves it.
Yeah, totally. He's been a backbone of the MCU for so long, and like his writing for the character is dog shit, right? Like they just don't know how to write him.
That was like my only dislike of Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Was I love Taika, but like he played the end of like the Hulk storyline for a little bit of a joke, or he would try to play it for a joke. And the reason that I think that hurt in some ways is like it's so obviously like a very sad story. Like there's no part of it that's happy. So then playing him for a joke kind of becomes like, well, I hope we get some resolution on this at some point in time.
Yeah.
Because like that scene will never not be sad to me, because Thor's like kind of an idiot, you know, where he makes it so obvious to Bruce that it's like, well, I would kind of like for the Hulk to be back because the Hulk is useful and Bruce Banner is not useful. Like, I'm like, that's so sad. He's been held hostage in his own body for like 2 years. And your response to that is like, okay, but I need the big guy to come out because this little guy is not giving. Like, I was like, and that's what his entire life has been.
Right.
They're always just like, oh, don't freak out because we will have to kill you, but also we need you to like,
But be useful when we need you to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be fascinating to play with in She-Hulk, which is like, look, we know you're a great lawyer, but we like She-Hulk lawyer. You know what I mean? Like,
because that gets us
like
headlines or attention.
You know you're a beautiful woman, but like She-Hulk is way more attractive. Or you know you can do like, I love if they could just play with the fact that like this is a normal person who has normal feelings, and then be like, everyone's like, no, but like the green version you is way better.
So you want,
and like
Jesse,
what that does to a person would be fascinating.
You want the Teen Wolf story, but with Hulks.
Yeah, like look, we know you're good at basketball, but the Teen Wolf can dunk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's going to win a state. We need to win state.
He can get us a state. You got to turn into a werewolf. We need you.
Yeah.
Like, no, you don't need me. You need the werewolf. Like that kind of thing, I think is a fascinating. It is that kind of thing that makes comics really good, because you can tell that story, which is like everyone wants a different version of you than who you actually are, and it goes back to just celebrity in general. Like the version that the public sees versus who you really are. Everyone wants the public version, and you're like, but I'm like me, and no one cares. And I think that's something they could easily tackle. But again, will they? I don't know. We might end up with like, well, you have to fight off the Sakaran rebels, and it's a world-ending calamity. That kind of shit is like, cool, all right, well, here we go again.
The reviews that are out there, at least the first... I think they were only the first 4. So I don't know if anyone knows like what the big bad is, but I hope it's not I hope it's not like the Sakaar people are like, I just hope it's something normal. I don't want like some world. I don't want the fucking Nor dimension that's going to destroy the sheet. Like the lawyers are going to be taking.
Yeah. I
Give me
want
something
her
basic.
final boss to be the final villain, to be like someone at her firm.
Yeah. Yeah, someone that she has to win or beat in a court case.
Yeah.
Fuck
yeah,
it, keep
like
it
the
simple.
asshole that's trying to take her closing statements from her.
Yeah.
Like, I hope it's like somebody like that and she finally beats him. Because I think
the-
that would be really cool.
Yeah.
And then she could even
real
end with
victory
like,
for her-
see, lawyer show.
Yeah,
Like,
that'd be a
the
great
real
way to
victory
end it.
for her should be not having to use Hulk to win the case or win the whatever, right? Like the real victory is that she as a person is good enough and doesn't need the Hulk. The end. That's what it should be. Will it be that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I also think at some point we're gonna have the conversation of whether or not it's like a curse because
Whether she
Bruce touches
regrets
on
and
it.
hates it. Yeah.
Yeah, because like Bruce destroys the sample, and this
That'll
is
be a
like
big
a
thing for
recurring
sure.
theme in the comics is like Jen has a lot of these conversations with Bruce where Bruce is like, "We're a mistake. We shouldn't exist. I've tried to kill myself like 30 times and it doesn't work. And, I'm sad that you have this life for you." And in the comics, it's almost inverse where Jen is like, "Actually, this is a blessing. Like, look at what we get to do because of this power. And, I know it's hard for you, but like,
Yeah.
there's some upside to it." So it's cool to see that flip, that script reverse because with where this Hulk is in his journey of merging the two personalities, he gets to have that conversation with Jen. So I hope that that becomes like a thing where it's like, I like that those roles are reversed because he's done a lot of work and had like this narrative journey to where he would have that context better than she would.
True.
But
It,
yeah.
I think you mentioned the blood being destroyed. I felt like that entire scene was set up for potentially a major plot point of the show of like people are going to try to get, like people are going to ask how she became a She-Hulk. And once they
Yes.
figure that
And
out,
when
they're
they
going to be
figure it
like,
out,
we
they're
want
gonna
your
want his
blood.
blood.
Yeah. His
Yeah.
blood or her blood. I don't know if it works with her blood or if it's just his blood or what, but some secret organization, Hydra, I don't know who, someone who wants to create super soldiers, maybe because super soldier serum is done. Whoever is going to try to like collect her blood, um, is a plot point. Because otherwise that
Yeah.
scene is kind of like a throwaway. It's not, they didn't need to be there, right? They wouldn't even talk
Well,
about
I
it.
think they were also trying to explain like why. So like in the books, he gives her like there's a transfusion take place.
Right. It's a little bit more than just
But in
blood
this,
spilling on her.
yeah, in this it's like she's actually exposed to the same gamma radiation he was, a killing dose of gamma radiation, but because they're family, she has the same genetics to
Oh,
basically
that's
metabolize
true. I
it.
forgot that
So I
line.
think that's what they were trying to explain is like not everybody could be exposed to that and be because like I always did wonder about that where I'm like
Yeah.
the Hulk is irradiated. Would the people around him potentially get like cancer? But then I remember that horrible storyline they did with Spider-Man where his sperm is irradiated and he kills, I think it's Mary Jane
Oh, Jesus.
with his cancerous sperm. I'm not even kidding. It's like a
It's like a
actual
Superman
storyline.
story lived out.
I
Jesus.
I I hate that they did it.
It's a Clerk
It's like,
story
"Ah, why?
brought into
Why would you do
comics.
that?"
Jesus
So I
Christ.
don't even wanna go down that every time I'm like, "Well, is the Hulk irradiated? Does he give off radiation?" I'm like, "You know what, girl? I'm not gonna go down that path. I
Yo,
don't
is the
wanna think
Hulk's
about
dick
it."
irradiated when he's
I
banging?
don't
Does he like kill people? Does he like fuck cancer into them? Like, it's a question I gotta ask. I'm like really curious.
Jesse's got to know.
that's a conversation I don't wanna have, but it seems like from this, now we can say his blood is irradiated. 'Cause the
Hmm.
reason he's like, "Jen, get away," when he sees that he's bleeding is he's like, "Holy shit, this is like Chernobyl levels of radiation around here." So I guess, like, his skin isn't irradiated, but his blood is. Let us not have a conversation about whether his semen is. I don't wanna know.
But still is from
Don't wanna
chat, but
know.
it really makes fuck cancer have another meaning.
Oh my god.
Do you think that's why Nat sacrificed her life so freely? She's like, I'm already dying. The Hulk
Oh
fucked cancer
God.
into me. I'm already dying.
Oh Jesus.
Let me
Hey,
jump off this edge.
speaking of Nat, I like how they mentioned how absurd it was that he used to have a lullaby sung to him, and he's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it just
He's
works.
like, I don't know why. Yeah. I'm happy they did a lot of, like tidying up some things. We're gonna at least address some stuff.
Yeah,
We're not gonna give you good answers, but like we'll talk about it. I'm
yeah.
here for it.
I loved his
Now
delivery
here's
of
the
like
thing.
of her going, yeah, how does that work? I don't know, it just
If
did.
they if they bring up like, yeah, so there's a zoning ordinance about some giant man in the Indian Ocean, yeah, we gotta like do with it. I'd be like, I don't even care. Just someone acknowledge some of the things that are done in this damn franchise. Just someone sit down and be like, yeah, you know, we got some issues to talk about, things that are messed up. I'd be like,
I might have broached this idea in the past, Jesse, but we talk about it so much on this goddamn show. We got to set up some sort of bet on when it actually gets discussed, and we got to choose a side.
I don't think they're ever gonna do it.
Well, that could be a thing where Bronze loses if they do it. We need a three-way bet. I don't know what the loser or the winner gets, but we got to get something.
I have to believe that there will be some sort of nod to it in some way. You know, like when they stick some shit in the background and expect it to like be something. I have to imagine that. But I'm worried, genuinely concerned no one's ever going to actually just talk about it.
If it doesn't happen in Black Panther 2, what the fuck are we doing? I mean, they fucking go to Atlantis.
I have to believe. But I don't know. Eternals 2, I guarantee they're not going to mention it in Eternals 2. Eternals 2, they're going to be talking about going to space to save girlfriends and shit.
Yeah, we got to go hang out with Harry Styles in Eternals 2.
By the way, I think Harry Styles posted a thing where he's like, I don't know, I may be back, I may not.
Yeah. He's Harry styling.
Like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Whatever, I guess.
I don't know, man.
It'd be weird.
That's if they do it Eternals 2.
I think, okay,
here's
my theory, and I could be like very wrong, but I think that they thought, or they originally planned for Eternals to be way more important. And then when they saw the lukewarm reception to it, they retracted all of that. That's my theory.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they were like, this is going to be really, really, really important to everything. And in fact, I remember them marketing it that way. This is the most foundational
Feige said
thing
that, like,
for the
this
MCU.
is going to shake some things up.
Yeah. And then they were like, oh, nobody liked this. Okay, never mind. It's not shaking anything up. Because what did it shake up? It literally shook up fucking nothing. If it was going to shake something up, it would be the Man in the Ocean, right? But it hasn't. How is it that one of the first movies of the phase had no impact on the phase after the people involved said it was going to shake the entire MCU?
Yeah.
Well, as of like the entire phase has come and gone, fam, and it still hasn't been even acknowledged.
They're going to do in Black Panther 2, the first and last. They got to wrap it all up. Phase 4 complete.
I mean this, honest to God, if the ocean guys don't have an issue with a man appearing in the ocean, if it doesn't happen in Black Panther 2, I genuinely 100% believe that Marvel is like, we screwed up. Like that is
there's so many
acknowledgement that the movie is not good.
Well, there's so many plot lines that they could just have, like, oh yeah, we got all of our like super crazy tech from the Man in the Ocean. Oh, okay. Hey, there you go.
They just have to, like, one line would be sufficient for me, as long as they acknowledge it. But they won't even acknowledge it. Like, a Starman opened a black hole above Earth and, like, reached down and grabbed some people, and everyone's just chill. And I know that Goof is like, well, you know, on the Marvel Earth, the crazy stuff happens all the time. Yeah, but still, then that means that the society in general has gone insane. But we are constantly reminded that everything is just fine.
Yeah.
Everything's normal. People are going about their normal lives. If you're the scale at which shit has gone bad on Earth, I'm gonna let you know. Like, we have a bad weekend here on normal Earth. And everyone's like ready to throw down and like go crazy. I don't know if everyone like forgot the first week of COVID. People were like fighting at grocery stores. People are going crazy. You're telling me people were hoarding like thousands of rolls of toilet paper. You're telling me that in this reality, in the Marvel MCU Earthverse, there isn't like a dude who's like, I got a shelter filled with stuff. I got toilet paper. I would love to see the doom preppers of like the doomsday preppers of the MCU. Because you know that shit's happening. I'm just saying it's the fallacy of comics where it's like, well, life is normal, but they're also crazy world ending calamities like every other month.
Yeah. If here's the thing. Okay, let's do it. If it doesn't happen in Black Panther, then we're gonna make a bet, and a bet is gonna have some like incredible consequence for loser/winners. If it doesn't happen in Black Panther, mark my words, chat. 3 months from now, let us know. Remind us. That's what we're gonna do.
You know what? Is it? Can I ask a question?
Okay. Always.
Is there a Marvel villain that? So you know how the Flag Smashers were like, even though they kind of sucked, they were like, "Hey, we got displaced and our world was turned upside down," like that kind of thing, right?
Uh-huh.
Is there a villain in Marvel that's like, all of these beings claim that they have the power of gods, but there is only one God, and they're like a hyper religious cult? Is there like one of those? Because wouldn't that exist? Wouldn't people wouldn't you see people on TV just be like, "This is Iron Man's blasphemous, and so is Thor." You know what I mean? Like, shouldn't there?
I don't think Marvel wants to broach the subject of religion.
Well, of course it doesn't.
Yeah.
But if there was reality,
sure. Yeah. I mean, there's the Universal Church, which happens in like the Marvel game Guardians, but that's not MCU canonical. So
all I'm saying is they're leaving money on the table by not making a TV show that's literally just the humans of the MCU dealing with the bullshit that like
they were supposed to. That was supposed to happen because it's comic. It's called
love
Damage
to see
Control.
that show.
Yeah, that's what that department is. A part of me wonders if that'll become like a show again, because I think it was supposed to be an ABC show or something, or maybe it was on ABC, but it might have been I forget if that actually ever occurred. It might have been a DC show where they went and did it instead of Marvel. But that's what the Damage Control stuff is, Jesse, is them dealing with that
like
bullshit.
every time that normal people have done anything, it's been super interesting. Like the fact that the first Spider-Man villain we got was literally just Michael Keaton being like, "They fired me from my job. F everyone. We're taking all this tech that we still have, and we're going to become criminals." I was like, hell yes. All right. Let's do more of that. I want more of like really pissed off humans that are like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of this shit.
Yeah.
We got secret organizations and cults and doomsdays and superheroes flying through the earth.
Great about Zemo too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because he represents like a huge plot hole in that where it's like, oh, I know what we'll do. We'll just crash this on this country no one cares about. And he's like, okay, I'm from that country and fuck you. You know? So like
Yeah.
I love that's why I will always stand Zemo. I will always stand Zemo because he has a point.
Yeah.
He has a point.
Zemo's great.
You know? He has a very strong point. Who's like, who the fuck are you people to decide to make a decision like that? I had a family, you know? And I think like that, yeah, you know, people ironically say, oh, Thanos was right. I'm one of those people I'm like, Zemo was right. You know, America, a lot of times, like, especially in the MCU, America is like the center of the universe, right? There's not superheroes like from other countries that we see very frequently, which is why I loved seeing David Arbor as like a Russian superhero, right? Like, but everything's very America centric. So being from a place like India, I'm definitely like, yeah, no, I could see a bunch of white people from America dropping something on us and being like, oh, they got a lot of people anyway, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
No one cares if thousands of these people die because it's better than it dropping on New York. And it's like, who are you to make that decision? Yeah.
The mouse made that decision, Bronze. That's what
I know.
Yeah.
But that's what I love. I agree with you, Jesse. That's what I love about Zemo. It's the same thing with Vulture. It's both of those are just great. Like the idea that he owns a salvage company that all they do is clean up after the Avengers. Like that's wild.
Yeah.
And then the government comes in and is like, sorry, Damage Control runs this now. And they're like, bro, what? That's like, he's like, I spent a ton of money on this. And they're like, sorry, I think that is something I would love to see more of. The idea that like there are all these government organizations. Like you just look at normal reality. If a bunch of government organizations showed up and said we're in charge now, that's all that would be on the news. People would be losing their shit. People would be going crazy. Half the country would be like out of their minds. I'm just saying there's like so much to work with. And I think that would be an amazing concept for like, bro, on the streets, it's crazy out there, which would be fun to lead into street level heroes, which is like, look, not every threat is cosmic. Sometimes down on the ground, it's crazy out here. And I think that would be super fun to bring that into the you know, Spider-Man and Daredevil and that kind of thing, where you can see that stuff. And then expand it to, boy, like if there was an episode where it's like, boy, New York Shore is taken care of. You got 50 superheroes there. I'm in Wisconsin. It's a mess over here.
Great Lakes Avengers.
That's you go to the
amazing.
Here's the reason, or here's the issue though. You go to Arkansas, and now it's just an issue of the boys. Right now we're just watching the boys. You've got Homelander.
But I think that would be
Arkansas.
But the idea of it just being like if people are complaining there's no superheroes in Arkansas, for example, have a superhero show up in Arkansas, and the moral of the story is you don't need to have superpowers to be a hero. Like, bing, bang, boom. Everyday person can be a hero. Like, it's, you have to take care of your own shit. Like, we can't be the hero for you all the time. There has to be good people in your own community. There you go. There's the story. Done. I wrote it for you already. Enjoy. Like, it's not difficult. It just, I would love to see those aspects of that part of it. Like, oh yeah, man, it's such a mess in country X. Boy, what are we going to do there? You know, like that kind of thing. And it's like, yo, you could just be the hero yourself. Like, which is a very Stanley moral. You know what I mean? Like, that's
sure.
Anyone can be Spider-Man, that kind of vibe. I think, you know.
Let me ask you to this, as we're kind of in what if bills. Do you think Marvel will ever do a show / movie of a completely original character? Like never done in the comics? No. You think they're always going to pull from source material?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because they want stuff that's like tested.
Sure.
Yeah. They're not going to take a risk with, you know.
You don't think in like phase 10, we're introducing the first ever design
JP,
for
that's
MCU.
That's a problem for our grandkids to deal with. I'll be long dead by phase 10. That's not my problem. I don't give a damn.
Phase 10 is what?
Problem.
What, 15 years away at this point?
15? Probably? Maybe.
We'll be at the end of phase 7 in 2 years, right?
No.
5 years. 5 years.
Phase 5 is the next 2 years. Phase 6 is the next 2 years after that.
Yeah, so we'll be in 2030. We could be in phase 8, phase 9 if they're keeping up.
We'll
the phases.
all have been burnt alive by the sun by then, so it's fine. Whatever.
Okay.
The oceans will have risen and drowned us all by then.
It's gonna go that fast. Shit.
Yeah. The robots will have taken over by then.
Yeah.
I'm not even stressed about it.
True.
Sorry, I was like thinking about this. I think that's what annoyed me a lot about Miss Marvel. There's like multiple things, and one of them was like, you see this organization in Pakistan, and you get a hint of that maybe there are other groups active in other places, but you don't see them do anything.
Yeah.
They don't make it clear, like, what is it that we do? Do we fight Jarens? Like, do we fight superhuman? Like, literally, zero explanation of who they are, what they do, why they're there. Like, that was such a missed fucking op to be like, oh yeah, no, you're not what do you think the world revolves around America? No, we got superheroes here too. And you know, like none of that, which is where I was saying, where I was like, a lot of Marvel's and like diversity and stuff is surface level. And then I get very woke people on Twitter being like, well, you should be happy. This represents you. And I'm like, not really though. Like, oh, there's Pakistani superheroes. We learned nothing about them. I can't even tell you what their fucking names are.
Yeah, one of them got introduced and then died 5 minutes later.
Who do they fight? Are there only 2 members? Then why do they have this crazy underground layer for an organization with 2 members? Like, you know, they didn't even waste 2 fucking seconds.
there's no other
on it.
there's no other IP where it makes sense to introduce them to, right? Like, what do you're gonna
Yeah,
have them
like
pop up
this
and
would have been their story.
yeah,
Like if
Blade. Is
who are
Blade
the
gonna
Red
walk in there and
Daggers?
be like, "Oh, I got some
They-
friends in the Red Daggers, brother"?
What do they do? What do they do? I could not tell you like what storyline they would be involved in because we never learned what the fuck they do.
Yeah,
They said they did the same thing that like was in Deadpool that was played for comedy in Deadpool, but in this they were like, "Oh, we're everywhere." And at the very end, even though he goes to see the one specific guy, she mentions that like, "Oh, they have like people everywhere though, bro." But we only ever see the two guys, and then once one of them is dead, we only ever see the one guy, and they're like, "Oh no, they're everywhere." Like, really?
Are they?
Were you just told
What
that?
do they do? If they're posted up everywhere, what are they doing?
yeah.
They're stopping the
What
Nord
is their
dimension,
mission
Bronze. They're
statement?
stopping the Nord dimension from coming into our reality.
Well,
mean,
they failed.
Yeah. They,
Also, the Nord dimension is the stupidest fucking shit I've ever heard in my life. That was the stupidest fucking
they could
storyline.
push. It was.
They're
bad.
never bringing that shit back. The
No.
name is dumb. You feel
It
like
might
an
be in the
idiot
Marvels,
saying
but
it.
that's it. They could push that with the introduction of mutants, right? Where like mutants become so commonplace, where they're all over the world. Maybe.
I mean, so in chat, Sneaky Oxen said they were literally written for a story dump exposition. But here's the thing: we got that from the mom already. All they did was repeat what the mom said, but with graphics, so we could understand it better. But the mom said the same thing, not 2 episodes before. It is.
I love
madness.
This is taking a step back. My favorite thing about MCU conversation is a new show comes back and then we're just shitting on Miss Marvel. Like new show comes out. By the way, fuck Miss Marvel, right? That shit was fucking awful. Because the funniest part is it's not just us, it's the entirety of the Marvel bubble. Because if you go look on like Twitter or you go look on like comicbook.com/Marvel, there's articles written in the past week of like, man, Miss Marvel really sucked, right? It's just where the conversation goes.
Here's the
It's
thing.
funny.
I will start saying the same thing about She-Hulk if 4 episodes in, she permanently stops breaking the fourth wall.
Right.
If it never happens again, I'll be like,
completely.
why does Marvel consistently does like this weird, we're going to spend 1 or 2 episodes with a theme of like what the show is, and then immediately drop it. And if they, if there's like a fight at the end and she doesn't like turn to the camera and be like, damn, this guy hits so hard. Like I'll be so upset. I really like those first 2 Miss Marvel episodes. Like really liked them. And they dropped the ball on that so hard, it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Breaks my heart.
Yeah.
They better not do that with this. They better tell a cohesive, well-rounded story where in the end, Bruce gets a moment to be like, told you being a superhero was hard. The end, period, move on. Like,
they're just gonna they're gonna get him to voice over him looking back at the rest of the group, and instead of saying I'm always angry, just like told you being a superhero was hard.
Yeah. And then he jumps away.
Yeah, She-Hulk's gonna look at the camera and be like, that was weird. Credits. End the show. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
I'll be fine if that's a post-credit scene. I don't even care. I just like don't stop playing with me, Marvel.
Yeah.
Stop playing with me. Give me something like I don't know.
What's crazy is like that's like Miss Marvel's whole bag is like street level crime, you know? And it's crazy that they were like, no, world ending event. And I was like,
yeah.
Because then of course they have to up her power level and like she can't be the struggling person that's trying to figure out how her powers work.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, she's fighting these dimension ending things and it's like, why is this her whole thing is supposed to be like
I think if the Marvels no, it's called the Marvels, right? That's Captain Captain Marvel 2. I think if that movie didn't exist, I think that TV show would have been completely different. Right? Like they're definitely taking that character and making it make sense for that movie. That I think if that movie didn't exist, we probably wouldn't have even gotten a Miss Marvel show to begin with, I don't think. But the show itself would look a lot
maybe
different.
it was the best-selling comic the year it came out.
Oh, the comic,
It was
just
the
in
most
general.
yeah,
Oh, so
yeah.
maybe
It was like
we would have. Yeah.
one of the yeah, it was like a huge comic. That and Miles Morales Spider-Man like broke records with how many copies they sold.
Yeah.
I think it went to a fourth printing, if I remember correctly.
Damn.
So it was like that's what I mean by like Marvel, like with their tested stuff, where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, well, this is tested. Like this character is popular, which is why it's wild they haven't done Miles Morales Spider-Man. Because those comics are also crazy, crazy successful. And Into the Spider-Verse proved that Miles Morales would bang
Yeah.
if it was like in the MCU.
That's old Sony.
Yeah.
Sony probably said, "Fuck you, we're making that money. Get
Well,
the
I know
fuck away
they
from
were
us."
in talks like way back in the day, long time ago, to have Donald Glover
Yeah,
Right.
I remember that.
as the role, and then they
But then he
paid
aged
that
out.
homage. Yeah, they paid
Mhm.
that homage in Homecoming by giving him that cameo in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's where he has
Yeah.
cameos because like he was supposed to be like the Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think that a lot of the good that we could get out of comic book movies or just like Marvel in general comes down to just corporations trying to like play hardball with each other and
Mm.
people not wanting to like blow all of their potential, like, well, we could save it for this movie or save it for this movie, rather than like give us the goods. They're like, well, if we save this and we did this and we cast this guy later, maybe we get their own thing. And so they're making choices that are all business oriented rather than like making a good story orient.
Right.
That sucks.
Yeah.
It always is gonna suck.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if there's much else. Bronze, you look like you're gonna say something. I don't want to stop you. I was gonna end the show.
I was, but then I like
Blanked out.
oh yeah. Okay. I would love if they made the giant man in the sea like Krakoa.
Yeah, we were talking
And
about
then it
that.
was like
Yeah,
yeah.
that's where the
I think
X-Men
if
just
it was
end up.
like if they were on the mutant island of Krakoa, that would be kind of dope.
I would
Granted,
agree.
it wouldn't be a mutant island, but maybe they do something with it. You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Look, after Black Panther, we're gonna have a big bet on the show if they don't mention it. So maybe that could think about your side. Think about your side. Is it they turn into Krakoa? That's your bet, or is it they don't mention it at all? I don't know. Something to consider. We'll figure it out. I don't know if we have like predictions for episode 2. We don't really think. Just kind
I
of.
don't think there's anything to predict at the moment.
Just kind of is just more show. I hope they keep up the same like pacing, the jokes, and the other characters are written as well as like the first episode. I guess the other episodes are written as well as first episode. Really curious as well with Daredevil being who he is as a character, how that is going to work with like a jokey person. The same scene, like if he's just super brooding and like doing backflips and like looking over his shoulder at Jennifer, and she's making like weird jokes. That I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
I hope they don't make him jokey. Because that's just not like our boy.
Yeah.
You know? I hope it's the opposite. I hope it's like a dichotomy where, because I do think that worked for Captain America Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do feel like having Bucky, they didn't make Bucky like, yeah, he hits on Wilson's sister a few times.
It's like a joke.
But like
yeah.
He's not like, oh ho ho ho. You know what I mean? He's like going to therapy, working on his list, being like, damn, I'm hella fucked up. You know? Like I kind of like that they weren't like, they didn't feel this pressure to be like, all right, Bucky, start dropping one-liners.
Yeah.
You know, like you gotta be so I hope that they're not like that with Daredevil, where it's like, oh, because he's like, I don't know. Daredevil is I take that show personal.
It's a personal connection for you, I understand. But I also think we
I
have precedent.
That character.
We have precedent from the Netflix show of him being super serious, super dark, super grim. If he just shows up and like turns
With,
around
like, a
and then
heart of
farts or
gold.
something. It's like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah.
are we doing?
A good Catholic boy with a heart of gold,
Yeah.
you know? Like,
Yeah.
his cameo in, No Way Home was perfect.
Yes.
'Cause
In
that
lawyer
like, I
form.
guess that's his version of humor, I
Right.
guess, where it's, like, catching the rock and being like, "I'm a really good lawyer." You know? Like, that to me is like, yeah, that's his version of humor, which isn't like, I'm making a joke, but it's like, the
He's
context is funny.
someone in my chat just made a good comment. He's kind of like the MCU's Batman at the
A
moment.
little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But depending on what backstory they bring into a show, like, if they are acknowledging stuff that happened in the Netflix shows, like, he has no reason to really be.
Jokey.
And I have strong theories because them changing his suit, I'm assuming, is because he can't use that suit anymore because that suit is now associated with the hair-smelling serial killer that was Bullseye.
Yeah. Yeah. With
Yeah.
Bullseye.
Yeah.
Do you remember his obsession with that girl? Y'all, that man was creepy as shit. It's like that, yeah. So because that he was,
Daredevil
like,
villains
going
and being
around.
weird about women.
Yeah,
You know,
because he
same
was
better
running
comedy.
around doing fuck shit in that red suit. I'm assuming Daredevil's like, "Holy shit, I can't wear that. I gotta rebrand. That suit's, like, tarnished now. Everybody thinks I'm that hair smelling freak," you know?
Yeah. I mean,
And so, like,
maybe
I
that's
do
why he
think.
goes to Jennifer Walters.
Yeah, that's why I think the Netflix stuff is canon. I
Yeah.
don't think they're gonna go back. I think they're gonna go forward, and if that's the case, like, if he suddenly is like, "Hey, guys, I basically saw the love of my life die, and, I've been through some crazy shit." Like, it would just be
Mhm.
weird.
I
It would
think,
be like,
yeah.
mhm.
Whatever episode that is definitely going to be like a lot of questions will most likely be answered in the Daredevil episode
Well, and I
about
never
where
watched
he's going.
Defenders, but y'all told me, like, doesn't he get crushed?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, that's what leads into season 3 is literally everyone
Yeah.
thinks he's dead. He
Yeah.
dies at the end of Defenders.
He stays down to save the city.
What's crazy is I watched season 3 of Daredevil, and it still made sense to me, and I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
They kind of wrote
I
season 3 of like, he just ends up in like a church and he's been fucked up.
I'm very
Yeah.
curious. Like, it doesn't. None of it matters to me what happens with Daredevil as a character until we get to his relationship with Wilson Fisk. Do they know each other? Have they engaged before?
Sure, they have
What
to.
is their
Yeah, they
like?
would have to. It's going to be so
I
weird
would.
if they haven't.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
if they come at it with like, who is this guy? He must be the Kingpin. If they don't, if they don't have a backstory, that's when I'll know that it's not canon.
Yeah.
Other than that, they can do whatever they want and I'll be fine. But
Yeah, I think
those
it's
two
like
characters I care about.
it's timey-wimey shit too though, right, Jesse? Because in Hawkeye, Kingpin is, like, not known. But in Daredevil, Wilson Fisk is a major figure in the city running for office.
Yeah.
Like, huge fucking deal. But in Hawkeye, nobody even knows who the fuck he is.
Well,
So,
I
I guess
would
at some point they'd have to, like, establish, like, does Daredevil happen after Hawkeye?
Sure. I would wonder if maybe the reason why his name is spoken of in like hushed tones and why he doesn't have a lot is if they were smart, they would just say that Kingpin got snapped and he was gone for 5 years, and in his absence of 5 years, his empire falls apart. He's lost Vanessa, he's lost everything, he has
Oh,
nothing,
the
and so
blip.
that's why when we see him now, he's like still behind the scenes, still
Yeah.
running some things, but he runs it out of like a back room, and he has like 2 dudes.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. God,
I mean, that would make sense. It's an easy explanation. It makes it like simplifies everything. It could be like, yeah, Wilson Fisk got snapped, and maybe Matt Murdock didn't.
Yeah.
And that's why,
Yeah.
and so Matt's moved on, and now Fisk is back, and it's like, oh damn, my dude is back, and our rivalry begins again. The end, period. Like, it's easy to do. Will they do it? Who knows? I'm sure there's some corporate guy somewhere who's like, actually, we can't do that. if we do, that opens up to a lawsuit from Netflix. So you have to redo the entire series. Like, you know how that shit is. That's
you pay money for that licensing though. So if they paid enough, they should get all that. Yeah. But I just hope we don't see me personally. I think the two of you would probably enjoy it. I just don't want to see Kingpin get all crazy about Vanessa again in Daredevil.
What?
It's been
That's the best. Vanessa.
No, it's been so fucking memed out of my mind now that I'm just like, no, Vanessa doesn't exist to Kingpin. He doesn't exist. She doesn't exist.
It's fine. It's fine if Vanessa doesn't exist.
Don't you love true love?
Yeah, it's fine if she doesn't exist in the show, but to have like a photo of her in the background.
Like, and underneath in quotes on a gold plaque, it just says Vanessa.
Vanessa. Like just him like acknowledging the fact that they have a relationship that extends to literally Daredevil almost beating the life out of him.
Here's what
I need
that.
I need these two to hate each other.
Here's
that's what I
want.
want. That's what so good.
I want Daredevil to come into the MCU. And he's got a button. And it's just his Kingpin saying Vanessa. And he just constantly presses the button whenever Kingpin's on screen with Daredevil. That's all I want. Make it happen, Marvel. Make it happen.
Vanessa better be in the picture.
What if it's not Vanessa? What if it's
if there's another woman? She is canonically written out of my mind.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of what's a name that could replace.
What would
Vanessa.
be cool is if like Vanessa dies during the blip, and then it's Kingpin like trying to figure out how to get her back, and then he opens up a reality tear, and then we get into the Spider-Verse. Oh wait, that's just the plot of Into the Spider-Verse, a great movie that you can watch. Animated movies are fantastic.
It's true. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. I think most people
Daredevil. Have seen it, I want you to meet my wife, Marissa.
Marissa,
right? And everyone's like, no, Marissa. Yeah. And even Matt's like, what?
God damn it, Daredevil.
Who the hell is this?
God damn it,
Fisk. My wife, Marissa. And he's like, who? Marissa. And everyone, it like looks exactly like Vanessa, and everyone's like, stop.
Yeah.
Cut this out.
Yeah. Let's end the show. Let's wrap it up. Vanessa's there. It pains me too much.
Vanessa.
It just pains me too much. Let's do some shout outs. Jesse, talk to us about Vanessa.
Hey, hi. Boy, I love this show. I love talking with these two goobers about the world of Marvel.
Goober.
Yeah, man, this week. Yeah,
thing.
But I mean that in the nicest way.
Yeah,
have I ever told you about the goober story? When I was, I don't know, many years ago, my dear friend Krendor and I were at the mall, and we were walking around because we love to people watch, and there were like 3 or 4 dudes. Was I hulking out right there?
Yeah,
I was purple hulking.
Hulk out?
There were 3 or 4 dudes in like big puffy jackets posted up on the wall in the mall, and this girl walked by them, and we were behind the girl, and one of the guys goes, "Damn, she a goober." And so I keep thinking about that because I think he thought that meant that she was hot. I don't know, but he's like, "Damn, she a goober." So now every time I use the phrase goober, I mean it nicely. Is what I mean.
I don't
and if
think
you're a goofy goober, if you're a goofy goober, you fine as hell.
I don't think Krendor said that.
No, some dude said it, and Krendor and I saw him say
Have the Zoomers reclaimed goober?
He was like, "Damn, she a goober," and I was like, "What does that mean?"
Is he trying to say like goobers are like some sort of snack, and that she's a snack? Is that what?
Maybe, because goobers are a snack. All I'm saying is, I loved it. I love that phrase, and from now on, I will always call people goobers, no matter what. I love the goober. I'm here for it. That's a word. I'm bringing it back. So, you two goofy goobers is what you are. You're goofy goobers. Rock. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, I got a bunch of stuff, and then tomorrow, 6.2 comes out, and I'll probably play that all day. So that'll be fun.
You going island exploring?
Hell yeah, dog.
Same here.
Hell yeah, dog.
Same here.
Very excited.
They said it's casual though. I hope it's casual. I hope it's not like super, like I hope you can't hardcore it. I hope it's just like Go
I'm
pick
allowed to
up
put
these
40
plants.
of my little. I'm allowed to put 40 of my minions on that island. I'm gonna like strategically place.
Is that how
those,
many
like,
minions you can do?
Yeah, you're allowed to put 40, and they have like little areas. So I'd be like, oh well, my fishing otter's got to go down by the water,
Yeah.
and then you got to put your chocobo chicks up near the chocobo pen. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be nerdy as hell about it. I'm gonna be like, this is my perfect farm, and I'm so excited to have my
Jesse,
farm
here's
animals.
the thing. Here's the thing.
Yes.
Broke is thinking and being excited about the island expansion. Woke is being excited about 200 more glamour slots, Jesse. That's
Dude,
what I'm
I
fucking.
mean, like,
oh my god, I've got retainers that are just. We're gonna put all that shit in there. 200 more slots.
Yeah,
Let's
I'll be
go.
like, I already have stuff in my inventory. I'm ready to go. I'm like,
let's go.
It's actually 400 more. We go from 400 to 800, dog. I'm so hyped. I'm gonna be like, put all my stuff in storage so I have clean gear. I'm very excited.
I need a moment. I thought it was 200. You doubly blew my mind, Jesse.
Yep.
I got so much space. Bronze, we're talking about moving our clothes.
This is like when people talk about Kingdom Hearts. I never know what y'all are talking about. I'm always the minority on this podcast,
Bronze.
not for the reasons you think, because I don't play Kingdom Hearts
Go
or Final
on.
Fantasy 14. So I never know what it's like
I
you're
think
speaking a different language.
I think I'm the only Kingdom Hearts stan here. I think Jesse got off that ship a long time ago.
I don't know.
However,
Jack.
I own multiple belts. I've got I literally have like 8 keyblades in the other room. That's not a joke. My wife hates them. She doesn't. I've got Donald and Sora. I got all the cosplays upstairs. Not even joking. Bronze, play Final Fantasy.
Yeah, Bronze, can I ask you a question? And this is pretty important. Have you heard of the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy 14 with the expanded free trial, which you can play through the entirety of A Realm Reborn and the award-winning Heaven's Ward expansion up to level 60 for free with no restrictions on playtime?
Is free?
Oh yeah,
free.
Yeah, at least the first 60 levels.
First 60 levels.
I had an MMO itch, so I was gonna play Destiny 2.
Oh, Destiny! Here's the thing.
Destiny 2 is good.
Destiny 2 gets patched tomorrow as well. I'm excited. Tomorrow's a big fucking day for games, man. We got 6.2 coming out for Final Fantasy and a new Destiny League.
And the new Total War Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires map is out.
Yes.
And it's so good.
See,
I've been playing it all weekend. It's so good.
Now, we almost had her, Jesse, and then you had to mention, I was trying to keep that one a secret.
Nah, Bronze, look, let's be real. Bronze would have either picked Destiny or Total War. She wasn't going to play 14 to begin with.
Bronze,
I played World of Warcraft for many years.
I think Bronze would. Do I think Bronze would like Final Fantasy 14?
I think Bronze would hate the beginning of Final Fantasy 14.
Most do.
Yeah, I think Bronze would be like, you'd come on this show and be like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
This is trash.
Yeah.
And then we'd have to be like, stick with it. Stick with it.
Was A Realm Reborn when it first came out. I played up until this one part where I had to go to like 3 different continents.
That's where the game actually opens up.
And a meat and a this. And at the end, they're like, you were getting ingredients for your own party. And I was like, that is crazy as shit. And I had been slogging until then. People were like, it gets better. But at that point, I was like, what, 20 hours in, 30 hours in? I was like, when?
Bronze, it's about a 250-hour adventure now.
But is all of it like that first part?
No.
Oh my God.
Only the first part's like the first part.
Yeah, only the first part's like that. It literally is like world building, and then it opens up into story.
Jesse,
the problem is
you realize
the world building takes forever.
You realize how absurd this is, right?
What?
You are now on the other side of what you once were.
Crazy. Yeah. Oh no, I feel like a cult conversion person. Yeah. Like I've clearly, I was like, this is stupid.
Like I'm having an out of body experience right now watching this occur.
Yeah. Oh, I get. It's very weird. Bizarre. I admit
weird.
I admit the conversion that took place. I was like, I don't know, but I will say, admittedly, unlike most people, I came into it at a time where the game that I was playing was not fulfilling any of the things I wanted, and we were in the middle of a literal pandemic, and I had nothing else to do.
Play, yeah.
And so 2020, I was like, I'll give it a shot. And I started playing, and ever since then, I'm like, yo, this game single-handedly got me through a pandemic. So like, I'm in. Like,
Yeah.
What's your
I
Animal
might have a little
Crossing?
nostalgia.
Sure.
They're making an Animal Crossing thing
Yeah.
in
That
Final
comes out
Fantasy
tomorrow.
14. So like, F it.
Comes out
Who
tomorrow.
needs Animal Crossing
Yeah,
when I can take my Final Fantasy 14 character to my own private island?
Yeah, I'm just saying it's like your Animal Crossing.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, yes.
Yes.
It was 100%.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
like your.
Yeah.
You know, that's why anytime I critique like certain mechanics in Animal Crossing, people are like, "Listen, it just came out when I really needed it." So I've learned that
Mhm.
like,
It
oh,
transcended a game.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just that it was the pandemic, and yeah, it was there for you, I guess.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Mhm.
Anyways, Bronze, do some shout outs. Let us know when you're starting your Final Fantasy 14 playthrough.
Yeah, let us know.
Hi, hello. I'm that bronze girl. You can follow me everywhere. I've been uploading stuff to YouTube lately. My weekly D&D show is back tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I paint miniatures and warhammers on Wednesdays. I have a mini painting show. You can come through. Jesse's actually guested on it once. And this Friday, we have issue 3 of my comic book talk show, Bagged and Boarded. So come through and chat with us about comics.
There
That's
you
it.
go.
That's
Cool.
me.
JP,
What?
genuine question.
Hit me.
What do you think bronze would be in Final Fantasy 14?
Race or class?
Race.
Race, I think, is the real question there. Class is
Yeah.
it's fluid. You can choose to be whatever.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say bronze wouldn't be any type
I
of
already know my answer.
bunny.
I already know my answer.
Bronze. Are you thinking Femro?
I'm thinking Femro.
Femro, 100% Femro.
Bronze
Yeah.
would just
Yeah,
make
yeah,
she,
okay.
Let me look this up.
Bronze would just make She-Hulk.
Yeah, a female Rogadin is who
Fem-
you're looking up.
Yeah, female Rogan.
Fem- okay, female.
ROEGADYN, I think.
Or you can just look up Femro.
Femro also
But-
works.
Just a big buff, like badass lady. Yeah, I can see it.
You're wrong. That's
Essentially
not
the
who I
Dami
rolled
mommies.
when I played. That's not who I rolled when I played.
She's a Lalafell.
Who did you? Were you a Lalafell? Were you a Lalafell? I
My
don't think Bronze
first
would ever be a
my
Lalafell.
first character was a Lalafell
I knew it.
because I love small races. So I loved goblins. I loved the Asura. I think they were from Guild Wars. I always loved the small races. But in this game, they have like child bodies, like toddler bodies. So it was too pedophile for me. So I tapped out. Like seeing them run around
They're
in
such
bikinis and
cutie
ERPing.
pies.
I had to back out. So I ended up deleting that character, and then I re-rolled a they didn't have the bunny people. I re-rolled, I think it was a human. I think she was a Highlander.
Buff.
Okay.
Yeah, buff lady.
Yeah, it was a Highlander, and I just made her to where she had really thick thighs and a huge ass.
That checks
Wait.
out.
Yeah.
Although
There's
I
no
am
ass
disappointed
split.
that you would dare. Like, why are you sexualizing Lalafells, Bronze? Why are you doing that?
I'm not doing
They're
it. Other
innocent. They're
people
innocent. Pure,
would
pure.
do it.
They're pure
No,
innocent.
I've
They're
seen
little
it.
taters.
No, I've seen it.
No, they
People
run
put
some.
them in these weird little costume and like do like the thing. See, JP knows what I'm talking about. And then I was like, oh, I'm not
Mm-mm.
playing.
I
this
don't know what
race.
you're talking.
I'm not
I've heard
this nasty.
things.
Yes.
I've never seen this. Not
I've-
once. Not once. Never seen it.
Well,
I've
clearly I
heard
need
some
to be on your
things.
server because I was in hell. I was on the server
I've seen
Goblin.
some advertisements
in hell.
at, late at night where people are talking. Come join our
Yeah.
club and
Not
hang
me.
out on our
Hell.
Discord.
Not me. It's all bunny. It's all bunny boys and cat girls.
Yeah.
Well,
Not
what
me. It's
server
all
are y'all on?
Lalafells are like, I dressed up like a pirate. Pew pew. And I'm like, yeah, you did. You little cutie. Okay,
Look
bye.
at this. I've never even seen this.
Yo, Wolverine.
That's pretty sick.
Can
That's
you
pretty-
be a brown Lalafell?
You can.
I think so.
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, you can be all sorts of different Lalafells. You can be all sorts of little cutie pies.
I'm gonna do shout out. I have things to shout out. I
Uh-oh.
think. Tomorrow we're doing a bunch of stuff for what? We got a busy week. Tomorrow we got Destiny reveal at 11 a.m. Eastern. We're co-streaming that. We got the Gamescom Jeff Keighley show at 2 p.m. Eastern. We're co-streaming that. I'll be probably joining some sort of Final Fantasy festivities with Jesse. I'll Can we go to each other's island, Jesse?
I don't know what the rules are.
Okay.
There's so much to do tomorrow. They're adding. I'm going to
there's
be
a
on
lot.
all day. So
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'll ping you. Maybe we'll touch base. Wednesday, Thursday, we're jumping into more PoE because I'm addicted, even though the league is actually fucking terrible. It's real bad. Friday and Saturday, however, though, we're watching The Lord of the Rings, both trilogies. We're doing the Hobbit trilogy on Friday, extended editions. I think it's about 9 hours. And then Saturday, we're doing the original trilogy, extended edition watch party. I think it's about 12 hours or some shit. It's a lot of fucking, it's a lot of movies. So if you want to stop by and watch some Lord of the Rings, feel free to stop on Friday, Saturday. And then Sunday, drop frames, probably. And then Monday, we're back at it again. Episode 2 of the old She-Hulk. We'll be discussing it. And then I'm on break. That'll be the final MCU crew before I depart next week. So there's no show the 5th. There's no show the 12th. There might be a show the 19th, or I might take off more time and go all the way to the 26th. We'll see. But the first couple of weeks of September, I will not be here or anywhere on the internets. At least that's the dream. We'll see what happens. I'm going to try to get off the social media. Think I can do it? I don't know.
I think you can. Here's the thing, JP. It's like soda. Have you ever kicked a soda addiction?
Yeah. Twice.
It's like that.
Yeah. It's hard.
It's like that.
It's hard.
Like the first week is hard, but then once you stop drinking it,
It's
you
easy.
don't even miss it.
Yeah.
You don't even miss it. And you can go years and not have the craving.
It's great.
And then you fall back in and then
You
you're
know
like,
what?
shit.
You know what screwed me, Bronze, with the soda cutoff? Jack and Cokes.
Jack and Coke.
I was like 2.5 years sober, no Coke. And then I went to a bar for the first time. And I was like, oh, yeah, let me get Jack and Coke. And I was like, oh my God. I wasn't even the alcohol. I was like, this is so good. What do you call this thing? Like, oh, that's a Coke, sir. Oh my God. It's so incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm back. Fucked.
For me, it was a movie theater. I kicked it for several years, then I fell off the horse, and it was a movie theater where I was like, They're like, oh, what would you like to go with your popcorn? I was like,
Yeah.
It's been a while. I'll have a Coke.
Yeah.
I was sitting there and I was like, holy mother
It's
of
so
God.
sugary. It's so good the first time you
Holy
taste it.
mother of God. This is the best thing I've ever drank. And there was so much of it because they give you so I'm like eating the salty popcorn with this perfect beverage to quench my thirst. And I was like, I'm back in. I feel like a drug addict. I'm back in. I'm
Somewhere,
that's how they get you.
There's a corporate boardroom where like a dude's like, yes.
Absolutely.
They probably
again.
put
You'll
straight up
never leave.
crack in that shit.
Probably.
But yeah, I'm telling you, social media is the same way. The first few days, you'll itch, you'll want to like click on it.
Yeah.
But then once you get in the habit of like unlocking your phone and going to Reddit or Twitter, once you get over that, you don't even think about it.
The wild thing is, I think if I kicked all social media, I'd have no fucking idea what the hell's going on. Like, I'd just walk around in life being like, is anything happening?
You could just creep on Reddit like me. I go to Reddit and just read the front page.
I read Reddit
like,
all day. I scroll. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm like, all right.
But I'm saying like cut all that, Jesse. I'm saying cut Twitter, cut Reddit, cut TikTok.
I couldn't cut. Cut Twitter is easy to cut. And the problem is like a lot of it is for our job, you have to go like socialize on those things and like use them.
Yeah.
Which I hate.
If I didn't have to, good Lord, I would be like delete.
I've found that, you know how you're like, oh, you'd go around in life and like not know anything.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. There's people that live like that and they're happy.
Oh, they're 100% happier people. Yeah. Ignorance is bliss, man.
You don't get exposed to like unhinged takes, you know, like, and there's people that have
no takes anymore. No one has takes. If you don't read the internet, there's no takes.
It's just like taken to extremes. Like I was talking about this on my stream, and when I realized that most of chat agreed with me, I was like, okay, so this is an unreasonable opinion. But like when Gen Con happened, and also with PAX East, there are people that are like, oh, if you're going to conventions right now, even if you're vaxxed, even if you're boosted, even if you're wearing a mask, you believe in eugenics and you want disabled people to die. And I was like, yo, and the tweet had like 6,000 likes, and there was
Oh,
multiples of these. You can go look back at Gen Con, which just happened a couple weeks ago. I was talking on my stream. I was like, do people actually believe that? My chat was like, Bronze, bro, you need to get off Twitter. No one believes. I was like, but that's the thing though, right? Like people just in real life, this like doesn't like happen as much,
Yeah.
as it does on Twitter. And it's like a different planet.
Yeah.
It's like a different planet, guys.
I had an epiphany the other day because someone said this and it resonated with me. Someone said going on Twitter and looking at like popular posts or what's trending or whatever is the same as like going to the DMV and people watching. And I'm like, that's actually fucking correct. Like it really is like the worst.
There really is
It's
like
like
shades of humanity at the
it's like
DMV.
the worst of humanity. Yeah. Yeah. All right, that's our show, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the MCU crew. We'll be back next week talking episode 2. And maybe work Bronze through this existential crisis that we just put her through at the end of the show. Or maybe we'll talk about her Final Fantasy 14 journeys.
Oh my God. We got to see the character screenshots and everything.
It could happen. You never know. We'll touch base on it next week.
But it could.
It could. Maybe. Guess we are anti-DMV now. God fucking damn it. Here we go. Okay, we're out of here, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye. Have a good week. Bye.